Those of you who have been tuning into the channel for a long period of time know that I'm into eating organ meat for a great source of nutrition. There's lots of benefits to eating organ meat. And for those of you who are a little bit squeamish about cooking it, or maybe you don't have access to organic, grass-fed, non-GMO organ meat, Ancestral Supplements is a great way to do it. And if you decide to give Ancestral Supplements a try, make sure you use the link in the description for 10% off. Mountain.
Train the muscles, not the joints.
Welcome back to Natural Gallant Bodybuilding, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about lifting light as opposed to heavy, or vice versa. And one of the differences that I noticed when it comes down to how you need to train when it comes down to lifting lighter weights. And this seems to contradict some of the volume sort of thoughts out there when it comes down to muscular volume on reps and sets. And you can come on through, don't worry about it. Yeah, come on through. I looked in the sun. Ugh. That's bright on the eyes. Sun keeps on going in and out. So if this video is overexposed or underexposed, it's not my fault, because the sun goes in and out of the trees constantly. So I set the exposure for one thing and then something else happens. So welcome back to Natural Gallant Bodybuilding. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about heavy versus light training. And one of the things that I noticed that's different when you train light as opposed to heavy that you might notice when it comes down to volume. Now, a lot of times people measure volume, and I made a video about this, about how to measure volume in your workouts, like sets, right? How many sets you train in. That's usually how I measure volume. But what a lot of people do is they measure the weight volume. So say you do 10 reps at 200 pounds, that's equivalent to 2,000 pounds of volume. I find that this actually does not accurately measure volume at all. I find, if anything, it gives a disproportionate view of how much volume is being lifted, because if I lift something for a lot of reps, I could do a lot more volume than lifting something for only 2 or 3 reps. But at the same time, I find the 2 or 3 reps of the super heavy weight is way more intense on the system, way more intense on the tissues, and I need more recovery when it comes down to nervous system and immune system and everything from that. Some people like to disagree with me just for the sake of disagreeing, but usually it has absolutely no bearing on what their personal experience is. They're just usually yapping stuff that they read somewhere, or they have theories, but they haven't practiced them over 30 years, which I've done. And I've noticed over and over again that there's certain truths that keep on coming back to me that I keep on realizing. Now, again, there are certain variables that happen with different people. Sometimes people notice things differently. They have different weak links, different genetics. I get that. But one thing that I will say that is proven to me, that measuring volume based on poundage, that's proven to me that it's BS, is that I've found that when I lift lighter, I not only have to do more reps, of course, to get to failure, because if you're using lighter weight, you have to use more reps in order to hit that failure point. But at the same time, I've also what the fuck happened to the exposure? My God. Typical, right? Sun comes right through the frickin' trees, right in the middle of my, this might be better. If it's not better, whatever, I can't do anything about it. So the one thing that defeated that whole volume thing when it comes down to you lift a weight for 1 rep of 200 pounds, then that means you lifted 200 pounds of weight, is that I noticed that when I'm doing higher rep ranges and my overall poundage is way higher as opposed to doing a heavy set, I have to do more sets of that lightweight in order to get my body to adapt. Like I have to do more sets in order to get the same type of muscular damage. Now, this doesn't mean that it's wrong, because you are damaging a different muscle fiber. And now I went dark again. Now, it doesn't mean that it's, this is crazy. Now, it doesn't mean that it's wrong. You just have to do a different amount of sets in order to damage that type of muscle fiber, because the endurance fibers are more hardy. They are more durable. They do not damage as easy as the fast twitch fibers. This is why it makes sense that you have to do more volume when it comes down to endurance work in order to push the body into some sort of adaptation, meaning muscle size, right? So if I'm doing sets of 25, 30 reps, I have to do more of those sets in order to establish that muscle breakdown that's required in order for there to be muscle adaptation. Now, this goes against what a lot of guys talk about when it comes down to muscular volume, when it comes down to volume of sets, because say I can get 5 reps with maybe 295 on the bench, or 8 reps with 295 on the bench, but I can get 25 to 30 reps, if not more, with 225. Well, the 225 set's going to be a significant amount more volume when it comes down to poundage. But I've also noticed if we just go by set, I need more sets of the lightweight in order to make my body pumped up and properly pleased. You know what I'm saying? Pumpy and lumpy. I need more sets in order for that to happen. Hence, when I do lighter workouts, sometimes my workouts are slightly longer than the heavy workouts. Assuming that the warm-ups and everything are going smooth and nothing's feeling tweaky and all that kind of stuff, I notice that I have to do more sets when it comes down to the lighter weight. Again, I'm overexposed again. See this? This is my life. Do you see how difficult it is to make these videos? All this kind of bullshit I have to deal with all the time? So again, this is a classic example of there not being just one answer. There not being just one answer, like how many sets should I do? Well, again, the other variables really matter. And I've noticed that you can change one variable, but if you change 2 or 3 variables, then it throws all the rules out the door. So if somebody says, you know, the standard amount of sets for a workout is 3 sets or 10 sets or whatever, you change the weight, that might change the amount of sets that you need in order to cause the body to adapt. So this is also something to keep your eyes open with, right? Don't just go into the gym and say, oh yeah, my muscles are done because 5 sets is the right amount of sets. Well, no, it depends on how your body feels, and you will start to learn how to feel that sweet spot when you know that something is finished. It's almost like a switch. You can actually feel that switch of adaptation that the body says, okay, good, thanks, boom, you've done the actual muscle damage. Now it's time to move on to the next body part or go get something to eat or whatever it is that you do. So yeah, how much volume you do can be influenced by how much weight you do, and remember that. Mountain. Now I'm in the dark again. See how this works? See, I went from bright into the gates of Mordor just instantly, because the sun goes here, there, here, there. What do you do, right? What do you do? Unless I talk for like 2 seconds, I can't keep the same exposure. And this is the problem with shooting on a C200 when you're trying to do YouTube videos and you don't have a cameraman and you're doing it all yourself all the time, because the exposure is just constantly changing all the time. What do you do about it? I don't know. Anyway, I hope this helps you out in your training. Thanks a lot for watching. If you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalgallantbodybuilding.com, and thanks to the Patreon supporters, and take care for now. Mountain.